Having telekinetic abilities in VR feels amazing, perhaps even a bit too overpowered. Let's find out, as in this video we are going to review Synapse, the new game for the PSVR2. In Synapse, you play as a trained agent tasked with infiltrating the mind of a colonel, who is of course the bad guy in this case. Now, to put it simply, Synapse is a roguelike game made up of 3 runs, each consisting of 9 zones. Each run becomes progressively more challenging with increasingly tough enemies that can absorb more damage and pose greater threats. Now, before engaging with these enemies, the game will of course teach you all the basics. And something I absolutely loved from the get-go is the way you have to take cover. Rather than having to constantly crouch in real life, which can sometimes be quite tiring and uncomfortable, in Synapse you just grab the wall you want to hide behind and pull yourself down. To shoot, just get yourself back up. Now, this mechanic works so well, and I genuinely hope other games would implement the same, making gameplay much more accessible. It doesn't make the game any less immersive in my opinion. In fact, I felt more immersed taking cover like this. Of course, as you may have guessed, there is gunplay involved as well, as you have seen. I mostly use the SMG in my playthrough, but there is also a pistol and shotgun. Now, the game makes perfect use of the PSVR2 adaptive triggers, making it feel like you are really pulling the trigger of a gun, and I absolutely love this feature, really missing that with my PSVR headsets. Now, shooting isn't the only way you can eliminate your enemies. There is another surprising mechanic, and that is the use of the telekinetics. You can pick up objects with your left hand and while holding your gun in your right. But you don't aim at the object with your hand to pick it up. That's what you would think. No, you look at it, making fantastic use of the PSVR2 eye tracking feature. It lights up, and by pressing the trigger on your controller, you can lift it and smash it into your enemies. And watch out to not get any debris in your eyes, because that might really hurt you. Unless you have gotten these PSVR2 prescription lenses from VRWave.store. Magnetic design for easy switch and play, no damaging your PSVR2 lenses with your glasses, bye-bye eye strain with blue light filters and anti-glare options. You can simply order these fantastic lenses at VRWave.store, and these are, by the way, also available for the Quest 2, HP Weaver and many more headsets. Now, maneuvering through the levels and defeating your enemies of course is part of the game, but you will need to complete certain achievements as well, or revelations as they call it, such as killing 10 enemies from behind cover or killing 20 enemies using your telekinetic abilities. If you die, you return to some kind of lobby where you can unlock completed revelations for insight points before starting your next run. And insight points can then be used to unlock permanent abilities, such as grabbing enemies, for example, instead of objects, or carrying more than one weapon. Now, there are also temporary in-run abilities called mind hacks, given as rewards at the end of each zone. These can greatly diversify gameplay. You can have like lifesteal, or you can have it so that enemies are dropping explosive orbs upon death. And mind hacks do not carry over after death. Now, finally, there is Defiance as well, and like a currency that you find in-game as you do the runs. Defiance credits dropped by defeated enemies or found in hidden areas can be used in the zone shops to buy health, ammo and more. Now, the levels are well designed and handmade, I suppose. However, I was disappointed to find the maps were exactly the same in my second run, and the variety of enemies was also lacking in my opinion. The game's difficulty is structured by runs. The first run is easy, the second is medium and the third is hard. And well, after unlocking some of the telekinetic abilities, the first and second run became quite easy, I have to say. However, trust me, the second and third run still pose some challenge. Now, depending on your skill level, the game takes about, I would say, 8 hours maybe, 9 to 10 hours depending on your skill. And at a price point of 35 euros, this could be a hefty spend for some people, I would say. Now, the game's aesthetics are very impressive. Even if most of it is in black and white, I really enjoyed it. I encountered absolutely no bugs, and the telekinetic feature, which I thought would be super clumsy at start, worked perfectly. The AI was also notably intelligent, evading shots, taking cover and throwing pretty good grenades. And to come back on those graphics, by the way, there is a little bit of ghosting that you can see, well, if you move your hand, but for the rest I haven't really experienced any discomfort because of that. And it is not blurry at all, I can tell you that. Some PSVR games are pretty blurry, this one is not. On the downside though, the game is short, like I said, it lacks enemy variation and the levels feel quite repetitive. For hardcore roguelike fans, this game could feel somewhat easy, I would say as well. However, experiencing a roguelike game in VR makes me even more convinced that VR is the future of gaming. I would highly recommend this game to gamers wanting to experience a roguelike game in VR for the first time. And if you enjoy action-packed titles, this might also be a game for you. It's not a game that you buy for the story, by the way. It's not perfect, but it is definitely a solid choice, I would say. Now, I hope this review gave you a quick insight into what the game offers. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of this title. And as always, if you want to keep up to date with the latest PSVR2 and PCVR updates, then subscribe to my channel. And I hope to see you all in the next one. Ciao, ciao.